Wake your pulp glass up.
Wake your pulp glass up. OJ in the morning.
It's on.
100 years and one day later,
Peace.
Dallas Sports Talk Radio. We celebrate 100 years of the Emancipation Proclamation here at Straight Up Texas. This is what Dr. King wanted. Peace on Sports Talk Radio. They wanted somebody that was going to defend our brothers when you out there being slaughtered by the others. DSTR, fastest growing sports talk news, weather, traffic broadcast in the Metroplex Star. There's no debate. If you like it, we watch it. If you missed it, we will talk about it. Shout out to all of our subscribers. Thank you to all of our subscribers. We'll give you a hand. Thank you to all of our subscribers. We're going for 1,200 subscribers. Over 2.3 million views on our way to get monetized here on YouTube at Dallas Sports Talk Radio. There is no debate. If you like it, we watch it. If you missed it, we will talk about it. Subscribe, engage, like, connect with us on social media platforms. Do not forget at Dallas Sports TA2 on social media platforms. Leave us a comment telling us who you are and where you come from. Once we receive that alert notification, we will subscribe to your channel and leave you a comment as well. We're all trying to grow on YouTube 2026, the 20th of January 2026. Let's get paid together. 2026, Straight Up Texas. This is how we start hour number one. At 0940, hashtag, what's the haps? The DC search continues in Big D. It's not about who you hire for the defensive coordinator. It's who you hire for the head coach. Last January, when Dallas Cowboys stole all of the headlines from the NFL by not retaining Mike McCarthy and putting Mike McCarthy on the open market, you heard all of the bums at the fan hate, all of the bums at Ticket Chicks, all of the bums on Fox 4, all of the bums in the Metroplex were saying the same thing. Oh, Mike McCarthy, he's a Super Bowl winning head coach. Hashtag Big Mac's promise. Hashtag that's my son's friend. Only had the job because he was the friend of the owner of the team. We do all that to try to boost him up, to make him seem like he's something that he wasn't. Mike McCarthy was not a good head coach while he was here in Dallas. He showed that his attachment to people who were subpar was what he was about. But he came here to tear the team down, have it in disarray, try to put his stamp on it, and it backfired miserably. So he brought in his own replacement. Now, it's funny how that happened, but it's not necessarily the case that Brian Schottenheimer deserves to have another opportunity at it. That's what the problem is in Dallas. At 0940, hashtag what's the haps? Another DC search in Dallas. You had Al Harris here. You had him here. You just saw what his defense does in the playoffs. It's up to the quarterback to help the defense sometimes. Defense wins championships. And you had the defensive coordinator that was winning. You let him get away. You let him get out of the building. Not necessarily talking about Al Harris, but you allow Dan Quinn to leave also. when you had momentum, when you had injected excitement into the fan base for 3 whole years, then all of a sudden, you let the man go. He goes to another team, win a Super Bowl. Talking about Kellen Moore now, but that's the decision that hashtag Big Max Promise was willing to do to the Dallas Cowboys fan base, and that's what no one is understanding. That's now his name comes up again to be hired as a head coach, but who's doing the hiring? Pittsburgh Steelers, because he's a Pittsburgh guy. And now you give him the opportunity to say, this is my dream job. And then he got his guy, the dream quarterback, him and the guy who got him fired, the team alleged last game of the season, unanimously, we want him back. The head coach, Mike Tomlin, gracefully bows out, gonna resign, retire, however you want to say it, walk into the sunset with another playoff loss. Rumor mill is Mike McCarthy gonna get a shot. Initially, when we heard that, we were saying Mike McCarthy getting another opportunity as a head coach, but he's a Pittsburgh guy, so that makes sense. If you want somebody that got some type of track record, that makes sense. But for him to be a head coach, it doesn't make sense. You bring him in to become your GM, but the head coach, Mike McCarthy, is not a head coach. At 0940, hashtag what's the house? 100 years and 1 day later, go up into MSG on MLK Day, hashtag flag flies high. Cooper Flag returns after missing 2 games with a high ankle sprain. Initially, we thought he was out at least until the All-Star break, but that's that resiliency of a young 19-year-old kid that a 44-year-old man can't do in the NBA. And that's what you're being compared to. That's why Cooper Flag might make the All-Star game as a reserve. Become the first rookie since MJ to make an All-Star team. Let's see. At 0940, hashtag what's the house? I have a dream that flag will be raised in Dallas. I have a dream today. Cooper Flag, first game at Madison Square Garden when Max Christie on the inbound tip pulled up for the 3 with Jalen Brunson playing that Jalen Brunson defense. The reaction from Josh Hart says it all. When he looked back at it's going to be one of those days. And Max Christie put it on him. Max Christie gave his best impersonation of Klay Thompson since Klay Thompson gave his best impersonation of Klay Thompson the last 2 games. Max Christie hit 8 threes in Madison Square Garden. Max Christie hit 8 threes in Madison Square Garden. We've been telling you all, if this team is 500 by the All-Star break, Kyrie Irving may be gone. Anthony Davis may be gone. Max Christie, Cooper Flag, and whoever else y'all want to put with him right now may be your squad. Even the commentators were saying, we remember when we went to go see Dwight Powell at the Veterans Appreciation Game years ago. That's how long it's been that we've been watching Dwight Powell at the Dallas Mavericks, being a part of the Mavericks organization. And that is what you're seeing again, rebuilding the team right before your eyes with young talent right here in the Metroplex. A lot of guys you don't know, but the two you do, and Cisse, man, it's on. The athleticism is there. They're on a 3-game win streak. They won 2 games without Cooper Flag. Then come in last night, add his stamp to the game. They just had too much energy for the New York Knicks. Wonder what the jumbo guy, SAS up there in New York, had to say about that. When you talk about the ineptitude, when we want to talk about the ineptitude of a franchise, when was the last time the New York Knickerbockers were relevant? When was the last time? It's been a long time since the New York Knickerbockers even made it to the finals. It's been a long time since the New York Knickerbockers have done anything substantial on the basketball. And I'm just flabbergasted with what's going on with the New York Knickerbockers. And they, New York basketball sucks. And you got to see it firsthand. 100 years and 1 day later, after the Emancipation Proclamation. That's what our freedoms allowed us to witness in the Mecca, Madison Square Garden. Max Christie, opening tip, pull up, 3-ball, rap, right in Jalen Brunson's face. That's how you gotta be, a killer, right in your face. That's why we go straight at them bombs at the fan, go straight at them bombs at the ticket. Never have anything good to say. We're gonna teach y'all how to go out there and watch sports. You're gonna start going to the game. Stop sending Sam Gannon. She the only one that go to the, every time you watching Fox, she's on, Sam Gannon's on location. Hey Sam, how is it out there watching the team up close and personal, witnessing what's really going on while we sitting back here going through the sweeps and listening to the GMs talk about how we're going to get all of the ratings this week because we have the excellent footage. Go ahead, Sam. They got to let the young lady go out there and get all of the coverage because they too weak. They don't know sports. They weren't athletes. You can't talk about sports if you're unathletic. Not an athletic bone in the body. And they want to be the ones that try to tell you about sports. Mothers can't even play kickball. Won't even make a dodgeball team. Go out and do some practice swings with a former MLB baseball player was on the staff with you. You wasted all that talent because you wanted to talk about booty. Hey, paralyzed veteran. How you feel about men that sit down when they have to use the bathroom? That's how idiotic. Hey man, I'm gonna go into the dughouse of the team and I'm gonna sit on the couch. I didn't know that was a thing. Cause you're unathletic. You ain't never had been in any sports. Don't know. Hey man, don't come in here and step on our logo. Hey man, don't come in here and sit on our stuff. Because you're disrespectful. That's why your whole talk game is disrespectful. That's why you can't sit up and say anything good about your team because you're taught to be disrespectful. You're not taught to look for the good things. The brotherhood of a football team is when we're down, we still could come out of it. If you never played a sport, you can't talk about coming up out of something because all you do is just talk about it. You can't do it. That's the part. That part right there is easy to sit up there and talk about, oh man, this is Dak's fault. When you've watched 10 years of terrible coaching, 10 years of terrible play calling, 10 years of terrible clock management. And a quarterback supposed to handle all of that. Come on. 100 years and one day later, emancipate your brain. Talk about something better than putting down the team. Let's talk about a better day. Let's talk about flag flying high in MSG. We get tired of talking about Tony Beasley being passed over at the last American League team to win a World Series. No one talking about that, but they want to talk about McDermott losing his job. He should have been fired years ago. He should have been fired years ago. But each year he should have been fired. Everybody wanted to say what? Oh, they can give him another 10. We had Leslie Frazier as his defensive coordinator. He trying to keep the man from getting a head coaching job again. So he torpedoed his career. No one wants to talk about that. McDermott was a bum. He was trash. He showed y'all. What did he show you as far as the coaching style that made you think that he was innovative? He's supposed to be the one. He shows you exactly what he could do with hashtag Josh Allen is a bum. We told y'all that years ago. But you want to try to put us in this narrative and make it seem like it's our fault that your teams are trash. The teams are trash because it's time to evaluate the evaluators. When you got the narrative of the local radio show that all they do is talk about butt jokes, not because they're no athletes. Oh yeah, I got a group of guys that I rely on that they tell me all the things to talk about here in Dallas. And we're the number one radio station in the land, and this is the trash that we want to talk about. Hey man, I got a group of my gang of 7, and they tell me that we suck in Big D, and I'm gonna go tell everybody that I see what my friends outside of Big D say about me. And that's entertainment? That's idiocy. That's why the fan sucks, the ticket sucks, Mike Ducey sucks. Stars, what's going on? Got the whole fan base. We told y'all last year you should not have gotten rid of Stankover. When Dallas was doing the stanky leg, Jim Neal. Everybody talked about Nico last year. Nobody talked about Jim Neal. We told y'all last year Jim Neal messed up the chemistry of the team by allowing Logan Stankoven to get away. We told y'all last year. We here, straight up Texas, go back and check the archives. We told y'all then, everybody talking about Nico Harrison, but then no one said anything about Jim Neal getting rid of Stankoven and let him go to Carolina to get Nico Rantanen and still haven't received any of all this flash that we were supposed to have been receiving in return for Stankoven. Went to Carolina 3 games ago and got blistered by who? Stankoven. Like, man, come on. It's time to evaluate the evaluators here in Dallas. Stop allowing these bums to sit up here and just take our money, then give us crappy entertainment and say, hey, we're trying to find our footing. Your footing is already supposed to be found. It's time for us to get a Super Bowl here in Dallas. And it's time for Rain on the Dakota to go out there and do it. Put together a defense that wants to defend. Stop looking at these flashing pans. Ezraku, yeah, he was okay. Getting his first sack in week 11. So go teach that man some technique and stop just sending him out there to the wolves. At 0940, hashtag, what's the house? 100 years and one day later, straight up Texas celebrating the Emancipation Proclamation. Without that document, we would not be able to get on at Dallas Sports Talk Radio and tell 105.3. Get positive about Dallas sports. Because every time we hear one of you bums talk sideways, We're coming to get you. Today is the 20th of January, 2026. 100 years and 1 day later after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. This is how we start our number one. At 0940, hashtag, what's the house? Flag flies high. Dallas flag planted at MSG